Okay, so President Trump already signed an executive order designed to keep men out of women's sports and bathroom. But apparently, these board members in Michigan decided to act like it never happened. God bless these parents.
Hello, my name is Christy Fleming, and I'm a parent in the district with 2 children and a graduate as well. As you are well aware, it has been brought to the board's attention multiple times that this district currently allows boys to use girls' bathrooms. As a parent of a young girl in the district, I expressed my concern to the board, and the girls bravely did as well. You ignored us all. In fact, we will never forget Trustee Gupta's response that the girls were fear-mongering, which went unchecked by the board majority. It would appear that all does not mean all if you are a girl in the Rochester Community Schools. These policies violate the rights of our young girls and that is provided for by the Title IX of the Higher Education Act, and specifically violate President Trump's executive order entitled Ending Radical Indoctrination in K-12 Schools from February 4th, 2025. The district needs to announce tonight in this meeting that they are rescinding the policies, procedures, and guidance that permit the violation of our young girls' rights. Failing that, the district will be subject to a violation filed with the Office of Civil Rights within the Department of Education. Let me say that again. The district will be subject to a violation filed with the Office of Civil Rights within the Department of Education. What is so disheartening is that instead of Rochester Community Schools being the trailblazer in Michigan for solutions and visions for all, you are seeking excuses and holding the line, which helps no one. You have my contact information. Please let us know if you will be bringing your policies and procedures into compliance with the law. Our young girls deserve it. Thank you.
So it's just for context related to really the previous speaker. The Biden administration's Title IX regulations are something that the Rochester schools fully embrace. However, your attorneys or you aren't listening because a federal judge repudiated those rules, canceled it just several weeks ago. Added to that, President Trump's executive order, he signed on the very first day in office, January 20th, 2025. In that executive order, he declared there are 2 sexes, going back to 6,000 years of human history, okay?
Common sense.
Male and female, and the education department will enforce Title IX consistent with the directive. If Rochester Schools continues with what it's been doing and is doing today, not only are you jeopardizing the funding that I just heard talked about on one of the board members and one of the parents, but you're jeopardizing the entire funding for the school district. Time to wake up. We're heading back to America. We're not in this fog anymore. Time to wake up, folks. You're in charge of where you're at, okay? I wish you well.
And I'm a parent of a child in the district. It's our expectation as parents that you comply with President Trump's executive orders regarding gender policies and ensure that biological boys are not allowed to use girls' bathrooms, locker rooms, or compete in their sports. Furthermore, under no circumstances should biological boys ever be allowed to share hotel rooms with girls on overnight field trips. Board members Jessica Gupta and Michelle Buelltel on 1/29/25 stated to me directly that biological boys were in fact allowed to share hotel rooms with girls and that parents were merely notified ahead of time. This is completely unacceptable. Parents should not be put in a position where they are simply informed of such policies rather than given a say in protecting their daughter's privacy and safety. I would like to know what the current process is for forcing a biological boy into a girl's hotel room. Who makes this decision? What criteria are used? Are parents allowed to opt out, or is this decision made without their consent? These are serious concerns that demand immediate answers and corrective action. Your role is to protect and provide a safe and fair learning environment for every student, and that includes safeguarding the rights of biological girls. By allowing biological males into female spaces, athletic competitions, and overnight accommodations, you are not only compromising fairness, but also neglecting your duty to represent and protect all students equally. Additionally, by violating President Trump's EOs on gender policies, the RCS BOE is putting more than $5 million in federal funding at risk. This reckless disregard for compliance could have serious financial consequences for our district. impacting all students and educational programs. It is unseemly that you jumped into following ex-President Biden's Title IX EO rewrite on pushing boys into girls' spaces, knowing full well that they were being challenged. And now you claim that you will not follow President Trump's EOs because they may be challenged. Your hypocrisy and political maneuvering is stunning
30
and
seconds.
unacceptable. We expect you to take immediate action to correct these issues and align school policies with common sense protections for girls. Parents are paying attention, and we will hold this board accountable for decisions that fail to prioritize the well-being of our children. I urge you to stand up for all students, including biological girls, and ensure their rights, privacy, and safety are not disregarded.
Thank you.
And I'm going to start this off by saying I find it extremely hypocritical of the 5 majority members sitting up there. I know one of them is missing. That, you're putting all of these millions of dollars at risk because you won't follow the Title IX policy. And
That's
then
insane.
you're having all of these people talk about having a fully funded IDEA. And so you're going to rip all that money away because Trump's going to do it. He's already had a fight with the governor of Maine, and he already
Yeah.
said he's pulling the money. So if you're going to have the money pulled, how are all these special ed kids going to end up? You still got to take care of them. So I would advise you people to start thinking about the funding and the money and where it's going. And it does reflect poorly on this board. How many times do you people want to end up on libs of TikTok? I really don't know, because those go viral all the time. I hope, like Mrs. Brown hopes, that maybe you can demonstrate some maturity and kindness,
Mrs. Van
as
Dale,
these
that's your 3
qualities are
minutes.
essential for the development of students
If we
that
could
we
have
serve.
Marvy Neubauer,
Yes, thank you
please
very
step
much
up.
for interrupting me, Michelle. I can talk just as loud as you.
I'd like to remind the audience, please, that we be respectful when we are in this meeting. And we will have, for those of you who had some questions, we will be getting back to some of you with answers on those. As far as some of the Title IX, we did revert back to our prior administrative regulations on those, and that was effective February 17th. I think we're still in the midst of getting that updated on the website, but those are in effect.
Madam President,
Trustee LeCouey, this is not a...
I do have a question about what just came up in public comment.
No, you can talk about that in your
Madam
comments at the
President,
end.
according to Robert's rules, trustees are allowed to ask questions about items that are on
But-
the agenda.
But in
And so
our,
this would be a
Trustee
violation of
LeCouey,
parliamentary
it is-
procedure to
at
not
this-
allow me to ask
no,
a question
in our
about the
handbook-
agenda item.
In our handbook, it specifically identifies that the superintendent and the president are able to respond at that time, but it is not appropriate for anyone else at that time.
Madam President,
If
I'm
you'd
not
like to-
asking, I'm not responding to community members. I'm asking you a question about what came up in public comment. It does
Amen.
not say in our board handbook any rule that prohibits trustees from asking questions about agenda items. I'm asking you a question about an
But the
agenda
agenda item is the public comment at this point.
Exactly.
So I have no
I'm asking you
comment
about
on
what
those.
came up, because I'm hearing that a citizen is planning to file a complaint with the Office of Civil Rights.
Right,
And I'm
which was
wondering if the
specifically-
district understands what kind of an undertaking that is and how that puts our funding at risk, how we have to draw up all kinds of policies and emails and records, and there's interviews and there's site visits, and it could be very costly, result in withholding of funding. And unfortunately, we have evidence for a valid complaint to be made, and I'm wondering if we ought to agree that maybe we should put together a policy that is in compliance with the law. Because what we have right now is not a policy. We're just updating administrative regulations to what we had before, but we have never had a policy that addresses what happens in bathrooms and locker rooms or on sports teams. And that's what has been asked for. They're asking for a policy, which is something that we do not currently have. The OCR frowns on that. They will write you up if you don't have proper policies, and I'd like to make sure that the district is in compliance with
So
what's
Trustee
expected.
LeCouey, what I would like to say is that you are welcome to talk with your fellow board members to see
She doesn't wanna
if
do
there
it.
is consensus to bring that up. You can talk to the people who are on the
She doesn't care. She doesn't
Policy
want to
and
do it.
Curriculum Committee as well, and look to put that on a future agenda.
All right, well,
So
I
at this
move that the
point-
board discusses
at this-
putting a policy in place.
Trustee
um,
Lekui, you are
and
not
we consider
recognized, and it's not
possible-
germane
And we
at this
consider
time.
possible action at the next meeting.
We are moving on to agenda item 7.0, which is the consent agenda. All matters listed under the consent
Wow.
agenda are considered routine in nature by the Board of Education and will be acted upon by one motion. There's no separate discussion of these items. If any member of the board requests discussion of an item, that item will be removed. Please note that the items removed will now be discussed separately under the consent agenda and will retain the same number.
Well, that's messed up. This lady is basically saying she doesn't care about President Trump's executive order or parents. She doesn't care about parents. You guys can complain all you want. God bless this board member for at least trying to get some answers out of her. She doesn't care. Elections have consequences. This is what happens when you have liberals in charge. You let me know what you think about this in the comment section. Well, we'll see what happens. God bless you and your family. Catch you on the next one.